So we're back here with Thea Ramsey, and we have talked so much about this book. I hope that every single person who sees this will buy this book. And yeah, even if I didn't know Thea, and I saw this book, I would still be yapping about it to my friends because it is just amazing. But anyways, enough about Lucy's story. Because we don't want to spoil too much of it for you. I think we've told you quite enough already. But we're going to talk a little bit about Thea's story. Because I really want you guys to understand, when you're buying this book, you're not just buying a really great read for yourself, although you are, and you will not regret buying it, but you also are going to be enhancing the life of a woman who has written this amazing book in spite of having multiple disabilities. And you are going to be helping her with her goal of obtaining a therapy cat, because that's our goal here at the Performers. We want to get the therapy cats into the hands of those who need them, and if that means we start at step -2 and get up to step 10, that's fine. We need to do that. And so that's what we're trying to do. So why don't you tell our viewers what you're up against, Thea?
Well, I'm totally blind, and I've been that way since birth. I've got about 5 to 6 pain conditions that have now put me in a wheelchair, and I just got an x-ray from my doctor, or my doctor called me about an x-ray that says, that told them my rheumatoid arthritis is acute, which means it's very active now, and it's also chronic.
Ouch.
And plus, I have a fibromyalgia, spinostenosis, and a few fun things like that. So, also, I don't have people who are physically nearby to help out with things like shopping. So I end up having to order from online, and that's quite expensive.
Mm-hmm.
But I only get like $750 to live on.
Terrible.
I'd say I'm so far below the poverty line. The poverty line looks like a high wire to me.
Amen.
And I'm saying, people on Ontario Disability Support really don't get that much.
No, we don't.
And if you're able to spend for yourself and walk to the dollar store and save money and do those, you can live on $750 if you're pretty able-bodied and can save money and time. But if you're housebound because you're in a wheelchair, certainly a blind person can't push themselves in a wheelchair. That's you can't see where you're going. Like just one of those things, and I'd be able to wheel across. If I was just in a wheelchair and I could see, I could go across the street to the dollar store.
Amazing. Yeah.
Or if I were just blind, I could walk across the street. Or if I were blind and in a wheelchair and had, parents or siblings nearby, and they were willing to help me, I could,
absolutely,
go for that. But I don't have either of those things going, so I really need to make a little more money to live on.
Absolutely.
Even a little more than a little. I need a little more money to live on. I certainly won't take a cat into my... I've had lots of cats. I love cats.
Mm-hmm.
But I won't take a cat into my house until I know for darn sure that I can care for it adequately.
Absolutely.
I can care for her adequately.
Yeah.
And get her, the best foods and,
Absolutely.
keep her alive and healthy and happy as long as possible.
And that's admirable. That's admirable, and that shows how much you love cats. You love cats more than you love yourself, which is really a great thing. Guys, when you buy Thea's book, and I know, I just have to say this, guys, when you buy her book, you're giving her the means to be able to hire somebody to help take care of her cat. You're giving her the means to be able to hire somebody to take her to the dollar store or just to go sit in the park. Guys, we've all been isolated over this past year. to some degree or another. Think about this now. Thea's isolated forever, for all eternity, like not all eternity, obviously, but for she has been isolated for years, and she's going to be isolated for years if we don't help her. This is a woman who, instead of moaning and bemoaning her fate, sat down and wrote a book, okay, for us to read. And honestly, when you buy that book and you read it, you know, you are giving her the means to seek healthy alternatives for pain management, okay? You know, she can't even afford a copper mat, you know, for pain, or a copper bracelet. She can't afford that, you know, but that's so helpful. She needs that. She needs pain spray. She can't afford, she needs somebody to spray it on her, okay? This is what you are going to be helping with. This is an amazing cause, guys. We really need to help this lady out, okay? So I am going to be putting the link all over this YouTube, all over in the descriptions here of these videos. I am going to be putting it in the comments. I am going to be throwing it everywhere. I really feel that we need to be buying this book, because I really feel we need to be buying this book because, I mean, think about it. You know, she was just telling us off camera that she only gets paid if she gets $100 in her account, in her royalties. And you know what, she's like, you know how much $100 would even just mean to her? Just to have somebody to be able to take a cab and to say, okay, I need you to help me. I need to take this cab. I need to hire it for an hour, which in Chatham is $25, but it's probably more expensive in Toronto. But
it's more expensive in Toronto.
You know, but just to say, hey, you know, or just to you know, just to hire somebody to say, can I pay you $10 to take me to the dollar store?
Pay a little bit on my bank card so I can order in food.
Exactly.
I can't walk across the street to the dollar store.
No.
Yeah, that's true.
And ordering in is so expensive.
It's really expensive.
It's very expensive.
Yeah, it's really bad.
But if you're blinded in a wheelchair, you're not safe outside your own apartment.
No.
You can't use the cane because your hands are on the wheels, the big wheels.
Yeah.
And you can't see where you're going, and so
you need
I don't think I need to explain that. That's self-explanatory.
That's right.
But what Maggie is saying is also true. That once COVID is over, I'm still going to be isolated.
Yep. This isn't going to end for Thea unless we make it end. Okay? We have to work together to help her make this end. We have to give her a hand up so that, and she's not asking for a handout. She worked darn hard on this book. She's asking for a hand up. And you know what? She deserves it, and we need to give it to her.
Well, you know? I've got a product out there that can be bought. Okay?
Absolutely.
I can't invent, you know, something that everybody needs, like a wheel or a tire. But,
sure.
You know, I wrote a book. I did what I could. And that's pretty much what I can do nowadays, is write a book. Books.
You invented two beautiful little girls who go to an amazing, amazing planet of beautiful, beautiful people. That you invented another Redwall. You know Redwall Abbey and how amazing Redwall Abbey is?
Or, you know, I'm thinking this would be something that, you know, people they're called furries, and they go to conventions dressed as
CatCon. There's actually something called CatCon. Yeah.
If you're a furry, you'd love this novel. You really love it.
That's awesome, and it's so neat because it's actually in a very subtle way, or maybe not so subtle. I'm not sure. This book stands for what we stand for. Turn to fur. You know, have faith in God, of course. Have faith in God. Don't give up on the Lord. And then the Lord gives you fur. And you may turn to fur, and it will help you stay alive and not to be afraid of it. Don't let things stop you. Don't let other people's opinions stop you from doing what you need to do and turning to that fur instead of to those drugs, you know, and turning to the fur instead of lashing out at people, you know. Have faith in fur. Maybe I.
Look for the fur. Look for the fur. There's always, you know, like, it, what I've discovered in this, like, even in this isolation and such, is that unlike our earthly parents, when you get a spanking from an earthly parent, they leave you alone to your own devices because they're mad at you and they shut your door and they say you're grounded for a week and that's it.
Yeah.
And they leave you.
Yeah.
When God puts you through a disciplinary period, or even if it's not a disciplinary period, He doesn't leave you.
He doesn't leave you.
He doesn't leave you to your own devices, crying and, gee, Mommy's mad at me or Daddy's mad at me. He's like, no, I'm not. I'm right here.
Yeah. That's right.
This was necessary.
He cries right along with you.
This, I'm sorry to have to do this, but it was necessary for
That's
you.
Right.
But I'm right here.
That's right.
That's the fur. So
for sure.
Don't think of fur as like just fur, like an animal coat or a full fur blanket. But fur can symbolize what? The glove. It can symbolize comfort.
Yeah.
So
it symbolizes a lot of different things, and it's just God uses pictures in His creation to explain things about Himself.
That's true.
To people who might not have access to Bibles and whatever, or to people who do, but are too silly to read them, I guess. But I mean, I think cats and dogs are very. We can learn so much from them. And it's funny because from a dog, and like I said, I'm not a dog bigot. This isn't a dog therapy center because there's so many dog therapy centers out there. So I don't, concentrate that much on dogs. But I like dogs, or they're all right. But one of the things I've noticed is that when you look at a dog and how they love you unconditionally and how they're just all over you all the time, and it's just, you can do no wrong. And they're just loyal to the end, and that's how Jesus treats us. That's how Jesus feels about us. That that we're it's unconditional love, and that He's going to be totally loyal. And it really doesn't matter what we do, but it does matter what we do in the sense that we're grieving the Spirit, and that we're that the Lord is hurt by what we do, but at the same time He still loves us. It still loves us. He still loves us, and it doesn't matter what we do. It doesn't matter what we do to it. I mean, I accidentally closed a dog's tail in a car door one time. It was awful. I felt terrible. I still feel bad. I mean, I hung my head in shame when I said that. But it was an accident. But He still loved me. He still loved me, man. And they do. They're so loving. And they're a symbolization of like how Jesus treats us. But you know something? Cats are really important too, because you know what? Cats are really, a lot of cats are a really good symbol of how we treat Jesus.
Yeah, I guess that's true, but the endorphins, I was kind of like, I remember reading C.S. Lewis, and he would talk about his process of writing the Narnia books. And of course, Christian parents read the Narnia books because Aslan is a picture of Christ.
Exactly.
In a sense, the endorphins are a picture of Christ.
That's amazing. I never really. That's kind of cool because I never really got that, but maybe that I never really got that because underneath, like I can see Lithe is getting a little bit of a jealousy going on at the end.
Yeah, that's
and
true.
Stuff like that. So.
Lithe is jealous.
Yeah.
But, Lucy's trying to take her man, so...
Exactly.
Got to give her a little slack.
Well, of course. The whole endorphin culture can be seen as a picture of Christ, for sure. I would love to see Christian parents reading this to their kids. I really would. I don't think it would happen because, really, to me, I felt like this was an adult's book about kids rather than a book necessarily for kids. But you know something? If I had an 11-year-old or 12-year-old, whatever, I would read it with them, but I would discuss. It would be a really. I think it would be a really good opportunity. I think it would be really
like religion or suicide
Yeah.
and war and types of suffering that happen, and wouldn't it be cool if there were? I mean, if there were a utopia like this.
And there really is. It's heaven.
It's heaven.
And the way to get there
We're
is
not
through
yet
Jesus.
there yet.
We're not there yet, but the way to get there is through the Lord Jesus. And
that it is.
That's just, that's the most amazing thing of all. And I mean, but honestly, like guys, please give us a hand. Buy this book. You will not regret it at all. You will absolutely not regret it. And leave a review on Amazon. Leave a 5-star review on Amazon so that more people will know about it. Because this needs to be out there. This needs to be out there. Endorpha is the new Redwall.
If I can just ask, if anybody who buys this book, would you please give it a review? I'd appreciate it, because the more reviews I get, and by the way, the average review at this point is 3.9, and that's pretty good. Out of 5 stars, I get a 3.9.
Wow, that's
pretty good.
So did it raise after my review?
It did. I don't know how many reviews it takes to change it to 4.0. It's still at 3.9, but
okay.
There are authors who, like, I don't know, Danielle Steele or whatever. You can look at her books on Amazon and get an average of 3.9. Like, I looked at other authors and I thought,
you're right up there with the famous ones.
For a first novel, that's not too bad, really.
No, it's not. It's
not
brilliant.
Too shabby.
Not
at
all.
Too shabby. Really.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's fun. It's just, oh my gosh, it's just such a good, like, it's a reread. Like, there's some books I get out there, like I said, Redwall and so on, that I love, and it's a reread and a reread and a reread all the time. And this one is definitely one that is going to be a reread. For sure. And guys, the Amazon version, the digital version is only like $7, $7.99 or something like that. And the hard version, or like a paperback version.
Paperback version.
Yeah, paperback version is it's like $17.99.
That's not bad.
No, it's not. And especially for something that you're going to read like 10 times, and in time number 11 you're still going to find something new.
Yeah.
I mean, there are books that I will take if I can only take one book on a vacation or on a work trip or something like that. And there are books that if I can only take one book, other than obviously the Bible, but one recreational fictional book on there on my trip to read. I am, this is going to be on the list of the books that I would take somewhere if I only had one book to take.
Well, one of the criticisms that I found very interesting, she gave me a 2.0, or she gave me a 2.0. She said there was too much going on. I think it was a she, anyway. She said there was too much going on. At first I was hurt, because I'm a bit of a thin skin. I'm working on growing a thicker skin. You need a thick skin in this world, but I'm working on it. But then I thought to myself, too much going on is quite a darn sight better than boring as whale poop,
Yeah. I mean, honestly, some people just, like, okay, here's the thing. When you get somebody, okay, I don't want to criticize people on the air, but there is a certain book author, which you have already named, that writes books, and they're very popular, but they're not very well written.
Danielle Steele?
Yeah, that would be the one. I didn't say it, guys. But
okay. I liked Victoria Holt. Victoria Holt, my gosh, her books were like, there was plots and subplots within subplots. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And, you know, when I was 13, I read Brave New World by Aldous Huxley and Gone with the Wind. So, you know, this book could be, 11, 12, 13.
Do you know who else your book reminds me of? Piers Anthony.
Oh, yeah?
The Mode books. Because the Mode books deal a lot with suicide as well. Now, the character in those books is like 14, but it's...
Do we want to sign off on this one for now, ladies?
Maybe.
We could. We could. Well, we could do that. Are we finished here, or are we gonna do another quick video of in this vein? How long is that one?
Yeah, because are you gonna